Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey, welcome to yet another show as half my show goes flying to the floor. Hang on. Okay, hi. It's February 16, and it's a Tuesday, so Susan should be there someplace. Suze? Hello? Susan's not there. Always a bad sign. So what'll her excuse be today? She knew it. Then she started reading something and she lost track of time. Well, okay, we'll just let her go for a bit. I think. So the weather, wow. I was worrying about this big ice storm. It didn't really happen, did it? What did I miss? Anyway, dodge that one a little bit, certainly, and more coming on Thursday. God, can't take it anymore.
Sorry.
So let me text her.
I'm right here, dear.
Don't call me dear.
I'm sorry. If I told you what happened, you'd reach through the phone and strangle me.
Okay. I was saying, I wonder what her excuse will be this time. You were reading? What?
I was looking at a picture of a dog.
Yeah, well, I know. That's what I said. She's reading something, looking at something, and lost track of time. Hey.
Yep.
Hey, this has been sitting here, and I want to throw it out. It's on a scrap of paper, and let me just do it to you.
Okay. But you mean you literally you want to clean your desk and throw it out? So let's
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it.
So
okay.
if I get it out there right now, I don't even know why I kept it. It's something that my son said maybe weeks ago. He happened to be here, and he said this thing, and at the time, granted, I was probably stoned. At the time, I thought it was very funny because I thought it was like the kind of thing where I wrote it down so that if I read it to somebody and said to that somebody, what do you think this person was talking about? It would be an interesting experiment. So you are going to now hear what I thought was worth.
Throw Sam's words at me. Let me see what I could do with it.
The question is, what is he talking about? Okay. The fact that you know Sam might help you. I don't know. But here is the sentence. If it's nobody I care about, I'm going to walk the dog.
Well, it's either who's on the telephone or what's coming up next on the television. So, like, if he's watching a set of boxers or wrestlers and he didn't care about that team, he'd walk the dog. Or if, for example, he thought it was me on the phone and he didn't want to talk to me, he said, oh, that's Susan, I'll take a walk.
Okay. But don't you think it's a funny non sequitur?
No, I think it makes perfect sense. Isn't that what he meant?
Yeah.
Of course. What else would he mean?
I mean, you totally nailed it. He was watching some awful wrestling thing.
Okay.
If it's nobody I care about, I'm on.
I just want you to know that Aunt Susan knows her nieces and nephews.
Yeah, I know. That's true. So that's good. Now I can thank God. I can throw that
piece of paper away. But no, I thought that made perfect sense. Even if I couldn't nail it so totally, because to be fair, I do know that he drops by your house to watch wrestling, not because he doesn't have his own TV. He just likes
He doesn't have he doesn't have
cable.
Cable.
Got it.
Right.
All right. Well, haven't you told him? And you guys haven't figured out how he can steal your cable online yet?
Yeah, I think we did, and I think look, he doesn't care. I don't know. I don't.
All right. Never mind. Why am I helping him figure out ways not to spend time with his mother? Anyway.
Yes, indeed.
If there's nobody I care about, I'm gonna walk the dog.
I mean, well, okay. So enough.
You want to hear my good news today?
Yeah.
It was 8 degrees when I walked the dog at 7:30 instead of 8 below.
That's good, man.
That's a 16-degree spread.
Wow.
You bet.
You know what's weird is it's warmer now in Green Bay than it is in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
This is an odd. This really is odd.
Well,
you would always expect. I mean, right now the really frigid temperatures are south.
Right. No, and all those big blizzards are like ending like across the street from our house. I'm not kidding. It is.
Well,
it's like the line is like within 10 miles of the house, and this is to the south. So we're getting dustings here. Not to say we aren't getting snow, but we ain't getting 10 inches.
Yeah.
And you bet it's going to be in the teens, and then it's going to be in the 20s. I mean, I'm so used to wearing 3 pairs of pants and 45 sweaters. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I feel terrible for all those millions in Texas.
Oh, I do
power.
too, because I mean, they're just not set up in any way.
Well, no. Well, having lived in the third world nation of Missouri, I was without power one summer, or over the course of 2 years, I think it was, 3 times for more than 5 days.
Yeah.
Due to storms, and twice in the summer, once in the winter.
Yeah, I remember you were always
right.
Power.
Summer in St. Louis means you're in the tropics without air conditioning. It was terribly unpleasant. But let me tell you, winter
without heat
was untenable. We had a dog that was like looking for little pieces of sunshine, shivering in the sun. We just had to, we had to pack up and leave.
Well, I was worried last night because I thought we might get an ice storm, and it's not blues. It brings me to a story, which I'm sure I've told a million times, but again shows how I don't understand how anything works. And it was in the early years of my marriage, and I was in Madison, Wisconsin, in our little home there, and it was an unbelievable ice storm. And ice, 2 inches piled up on all the branches, and the trees were groaning. I'll never forget the sound.
Yeah,
like
it sounds
trees.
like a ship. It sounds like ships banging against each other.
Right, trees crying, and I was sitting in the house. I was by myself, and I was thinking, "Oh, this is so awful. This is so awful." And then I noticed I was getting really cold. So I thought, And then I realized that it was during the day. I realized that there was no electricity. And I kept getting colder and colder and colder. And I don't remember who I called. But I called and asked this question of somebody.
Would my heat turn off if I had no power? No.
Yes.
No. Oh.
I'm
always marvel at your powers to be willing to humiliate yourself.
Does the electricity? My question was, does the electricity have anything to do with my heat? So, this is how I learn. So.
Well, good for you. I'm gonna reverse what I said. Not that your power to withstand humiliation is so great, but your willingness to learn is even greater.
There you go. I understand it now. I do. Oh God. So this is how I learned, but it's why I was very traumatized, which is why I sort of. Did you know? Speaking of traumatized, there's a line I read in a story, and it said this. This is the adjective that was used, and I found it very funny. The polarizing cereal, and I mean like breakfast cereal. When would you expect the word polarizing to be put in front of a cereal? And your bonus question, Susan, is which cereal would it be?
Grape-Nuts.
You are correct again. Did you read the story? Grape-Nuts
are in shortage.
Oh, so you knew that. Okay. I did not know that. So I just found out, and I wanted to share with my listeners in case they cared, that, well, if they cared, they know about it because you haven't been able to get Grape-Nuts anywhere.
You know, which is amazing to me because I always have a box of Grape-Nuts because who eats them? I mean, I get them. They never go away. Even if you do eat them, you can only eat like a tablespoon of them, you know, because it is like eating gravel. Yeah.
Yeah. But I often had Grape-Nuts. I don't anymore, but I often had them because I would use them, to sprinkle over yogurt or
stuff like that. Right.
Yeah, right. So
and tis our brother's choice of cereal, which is accounts
that's right.
for why
do people like him? Do they pour a bowl of that gravel and then just put milk in it and eat it?
Apparently.
Okay. By the way, it doesn't have grapes in it, and it doesn't have nuts in it.
No, they're just shaped like Grape-Nuts. That part does not bother me. I got lost at that part of the story. I never thought they were Grape-Nuts. I don't think anybody did think they were Grape-Nuts. Except
I never thought about it. And
well,
you
Jessica
just said
Simpson might have thought they were.
They're shaped like, Susan, you just said they're shaped like Grape-Nuts. And the question in my head was, grapes have nuts?
Well, they have little seeds.
Yes, I know. I've eaten them, but it took me a while. I wouldn't call them nuts.
No, but that's what they're talking about.
Really? Okay. Anyway, yes, this is about the polarizing cereal Grape-Nuts. And the manufacturer.
Why did they call it polarized? Because people hate it or love it.
Yeah, because most people hate it, but the people who love it just love it. And they've been going nuts on all kinds of social media for the last few months. And Post, which manufacturer, has come out with apologies and said they're trying to. They never explained what the shortage was. But the story in the New York Times talks about this one guy who was on a quest. His name is David Hyman, a marketing professional. He searched for months. He followed the shortage on Twitter and Facebook. I mean, this was worse than the toilet paper, paucity. And the last part of the story is triumphant. He did not give up. And on January 30, he got lucky and scored 2 boxes at a Walmart in the Pittsburgh area. For all I know, he lives in, in Nevada. I don't know. He might live around here or not if he was looking everywhere. So anyway, where have all the Grape-Nuts gone?
Well, but here's the thing. I have several half boxes, probably stale, but I don't know how you'd tell.
How can you tell if Grape-Nuts are stale?
I'm willing to part with them at, a price.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there might be a black market thing going on with them. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, one other little. I just have to do a few little things just because.
By the way, I apologize, but it's a pandemic, and I read anything. I read everything.
Yeah. No, I do too. I'm reading. Yeah. What else is there to do?
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. So also I do watch some television, but I don't watch until the evening. And I was watching Antiques Roadshow last night.
Oh, I forgot about that. I love that show. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And some guy came in with this banner, a big banner from a American presidential election in the 1840s. It was in incredible condition. It was hand done, and he said it had been done by his great grandmother or something and passed on, and blah 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 blah. And I didn't really hear anything after I looked at it and went nuts, because what I saw on that banner, which had only a few words on it, was misused punctuation mark.
And then and then the room went silent, and your eyes became riveted upon the misplaced apostrophe.
It wasn't an apostrophe. It was even more absurd. It was a period, and a period just showing up in the middle of nowhere. And I thought, geez, I thought it was a recent affliction, relatively, that Americans didn't know how to use punctuation marks, especially the apostrophe. But this is from like 1840, and here's what it said in big letters. Polk, I guess that would be the guy who did win. Polk and democracy in big letters, period. Under that, against clay and aristocracy. So Polk and democracy against clay and aristocracy. What the hell is there a period after Polk and democracy?
Well, there shouldn't be a period anywhere because it's not a sentence.
I know. So I went nuts. I started scribbling on paper, punctuation, exclamation point. And I guess it was in my head because every President's Day I go nuts because of the apostrophe.
Right.
And President's Day, you could see either no apostrophe, an apostrophe before the S, an apostrophe after the S,
where it properly belongs, because
that's proper or none.
Well, either it's a day named after president, in which case it takes none, or it is the president's plural.
The president's plural, where you put it after the S.
Day.
But we know it shouldn't be President apostrophe S Day.
No,
but
because they combined several birthdays to make President's Day.
It used to be Washington's birthday.
Right.
Then they threw in Lincoln, and then we got President's Day.
Right.
And the best thing I saw was Robert Reich said, hey, how about we just get rid of President's Day and instead make Election Day a national holiday?
That's a good idea.
Well, the Republicans would be opposed to it, of course, because you cannot have a day that makes it easier for people to vote.
That's true. But I have to say that I thought I was watching the effect of a 4-day weekend upon parents who have been locked up anyway with their kids. And I thought, well, so what's the difference? Well, apparently there's a difference.
There is.
There is. I mean, I was looking at somebody rubbing his head, in exhaustion.
Those of us who don't have little kids or kids in the house, we don't have a clue of how this must have aged all these, 30 and 40 somethings.
No, I'm having this romanticized tra-la, how nice they get to spend time together, and then,
and they're like, they're hanging by their sanity's hanging on a thread.
Right, and I used to be available, okay, but I'm not, but okay.
You're not available now, no. We have a caller, hello.
Well, Lynn.
Hello.
Hello, kid sister Susan.
Hello.
Hey, I just thought this would be a good time since you guys were talking about looking at the dog, or if it's not on TV, I'm going to walk the dog. Have you guys seen the chicken plays God Bless America?
No. The chicken that plays God Bless America?
No, you've sunk to depths that we have not.
Wait a minute. Plays it on an instrument.
On the piano.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was assuming.
Okay, he's pecking at the piano?
Yeah, it's on. You can see it on YouTube. I think the show was America's Got Talent. I don't know. I don't watch them shows. I think that's what it was.
There might be a new show,
These two girls come out with this chicken.
Yeah.
They say it's going to play God Bless America on the keyboard. And they put the chicken up on the bench, and at first it's like, it's not doing it. So the people start booing, they're boo, boo, boo. And then the chicken turns around, and honestly, you have to see this to believe it. It plays God Bless America, and it does it perfect. And as soon as it hits the last note, it stops and turns around, and the audience is going crazy.
The audience that had just moments before booed a chicken.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Well, no, I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Look it up on YouTube. Chicken plays God Bless America. You'll love it.
Okay. It can't make me laugh as much as the cat lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
That is the funniest thing I've ever. I can watch it 500 million times and I still just start belly laughing.
Well, this isn't so much funny as it is amazing that he can do this.
Yeah.
All right,
we're assuming. Okay, bye. And we're assuming it's a male. Why see what we do?
Because it was a man, and
what do you mean it was a man? A male?
What? The person that was stuck behind the cat.
No. I said we're assuming it's a male chicken.
Oh.
We do that.
That's a rooster. A male chicken is not a chicken.
I know, it's a rooster. So he and I were both using the pronoun. Here are pronouns again. What is that chicken's preferred pronouns that did the God bless him?
She. See, again, we're giving credit for a woman's work to a man.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. You see how ingrained this misogyny is. All right, I got something else here. Let's see if you read this one.
Yes.
Let's see if you read this one. And it's a great idea. There are people now, there are hotels that do this, where you check into, of course. But is that not amazing? So here, guys, here's what it is.
How could they not have thought of this? Okay,
I don't know
what it is.
Can you imagine, you can check in to a hotel room, like in your own town, some nice hotel in your own town, check into the hotel, you show up around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and you show up with no suitcase. You don't need it. You get your room, you go to your room, and you order room service. So you've got your own private dining experience.
Well, it's not quite. Well, it is room service in that it's served in your room, but it is their fine restaurant downstairs that instead of only serving 3 tables because of social distancing, this hotel took one of its floors. It took them a while to figure this out because it was logistically could have been a nightmare. And they put all the people on the floor, and they redid these rooms as dining rooms. And they each had, the mini bar was stocked with things that they would, need themselves. And they would swap cell phone numbers with their waiters so that, they could avoid having the person come up and go down because there is time. It takes a couple of hours.
And the waiter insists that, do not worry, we will always knock before we enter the room. But the rooms still have beds. They have beds.
So yes. So you could be having be having a multifaceted experience. That's right.
Yeah, and so for the price of, I believe this was in, where was it, in Baltimore or Washington D.C. or something like that.
Somewhere around.
And and I guess there is a minimum. They're not going to do this if you don't spend. It was what, over $130 on the dinner? It was something like that. Yeah. But that's in addition to the cost of the room for the night. So this is obviously for people with disposable income,
or people that are just so desperate. I don't know. I was sitting around thinking the other day, I guess everybody else didn't sort of just quarantine the way we did.
Oh no. I mean, you were extreme.
Well, I was, because if I didn't want to be the one to kill our mother, I thought that was,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
To me, it was just like a no-brainer. Yeah. And everybody else is out and about. I mean, you can see how this pandemic is not going away. People in warm weather never stop doing everything.
I know. A lot of people. Not everybody. I mean, but there's really differences in people's ability to just do. Oh, wow. Barbara sent me what a blast from the past. Barbara sent me a sentence that's been diagrammed. Do you remember diagramming, and could you do it now? I forgot how to do it.
I think I could. Well, it would take me a while. I used to love it.
Oh, I did too.
I just loved drawing the little lines and
So the subject. Oh, this is wonderful. The sentence is the orange. I'm trying to figure it out here. The orange leaves fell slowly onto the ground. Wow. And I couldn't do it now. I could have done it as a kid, but I can't do it now. I loved that. All right. Now, let's see what else I got here. Susan, here's one I'll get you. As we fantasize about the possibility of a president being arrested, former or otherwise, I want to ask if you know which president was, in fact, arrested during his term. I never knew this, so you're
allowed. So it's not Johnson, huh? I mean, Johnson.
No.
It has to be it has to be someone not in my own memory.
Right.
And
it's around Johnson the first.
Yeah, Buchanan?
No, although he should have been.
I don't know.
Well, the only...
You got me there, Lynn.
Good. The only sitting president ever arrested was Ulysses S. Grant.
What, for public intoxication?
No. Forget this. Speeding.
Speeding with his horse and buggy?
Yes. Did you know that there were how would there even, I mean, there's so many things in this story that I keep thinking, what? They handed out tickets for what? Running your horse too fast? Yeah, he was arrested by a D.C. Metropolitan Police officer for speeding with his horse and carriage. And unlike certain other presidents, he Grant commended the officer for doing his duty. The officer, and here's another weird thing here that blows your mind. The police officer who arrested him was one of the Metropolitan Police Department's first black officers.
Wow.
A Civil War veteran named William West. I mean, try to even imagine. First of all, I'm shocked. I didn't know that wow. The DC police had black police officers right after the Civil War. And this one had the balls to stop the president of the United States for speeding. And according to accounts of the day, Officer West said, I don't know if he did, "I am very sorry, Mr. President, to have to arrest you, for you are the chief of the nation, and I am nothing but a policeman. But duty is duty, sir, and I will have to place you under arrest." Now, that quote is bull, right?
Yeah.
But it probably appeared in a newspaper of the time.
Well, of course.
Yeah, which is where it came from.
Right.
Yes. So, anyway, there you go. Just saying.
It reminds me, though, of the story, and I can't find it now, of this man who should have been given the Medal of Honor for his service in. You know what I'm talking about?
Is this the story today? And the Vietnam, the black Vietnam
that's going to be 81, and who everybody, has since the day that he, fought alone with Vietnamese volunteers and
pinned down by hundreds of enemy soldiers, figuring he was good as dead, he just started fighting.
And he survived.
Sprinting, listen, I'm just seeing this here, I didn't read it. Sprinting repeatedly into open ground to rescue other soldiers, refusing to leave the fight even after being shot several times. He was immediately nominated for the Medal of Honor. But, somehow somebody must have said, but he's black.
Can't have this.
No. I mean,
so
a true hero. They lost somehow it slipped into
over and over and over and over, because people have not let this go. And you would think that sometime between then and now,
it's 56 years.
56 years. You think that things within the armed forces would have changed, that they were willing to recognize the heroism of this American soldier.
Unbelievable.
It appears it's on its way to happening now.
Yes.
Which is why we know about it.
Right. Thank God he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish. Do you have his name?
His last name is Davis, but I don't have the whole thing here.
Okay.
His last name is Davis. They don't have it all here. Incredible. Roger writes, while talking about grammar is much more appealing than he who should not be named. But you're going, this is what the knuckle-dragging conservative would incorrectly point at as elitism. It's elitist. Well, it's elitist to have liked diagramming sentences. It's elitist to notice this extraneous period in a banner on Antiques Roadshow. All of that is elitist. So what is a synonym for elitist? Valuing education?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess
right and wrong, correct and incorrect. Yeah, this comes out of the 80s when it were 90s when it was somehow incorrect to tell your little genius that they were spelling wrong. They were just being creative. Nothing was wrong,
Yeah, I remember. I think it was Best who came home from school and said something to the effect of, "Mom, the teacher told Jimmy that 2 plus 3 is 6 is an interesting answer, but it was wrong." And I just want to say, by using the word Jimmy, there's no way that a kid at that time, there were no Jimmies in classrooms then. So what is the name I want? Told, the name
Colin.
we give our
Colin was we have a grandnephew named Colin, but that's actually a name from then. I'm thinking of my kids' friends' names.
Tiffany,
Heather,
Tiffany. Harder to come up with boy names. Zach,
right?
Max. Sam is one that has hung on through thick and thin, right?
Yeah.
But James seems to have become, if anything, just a middle name.
Right.
I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Wait a minute. I have other stuff. I have stuff.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, this is nice for me, not having to deal with all this crap. Chuck writes, this is more serious. I wanted to mention the multiple censures and death threats against those Republicans who voted guilty at Trump's Senate trial. It really caught my attention yesterday when the chair of the Republican Party in Washington County told a news station, "We did not send Toomey there to vote his conscience. We did not send him there to do the right thing or whatever he said he was doing. We sent him there to represent us."
Oh. See, this is what happens. I just want to point out, when you give up commas and you let periods go whenever they want, when rules cease to be rules, when wrong isn't wrong and right isn't right, you bet it's a slippery slope. We also have Ron Johnson saying he didn't think it was much like an armed insurrection.
He might be the worst. It's just that he's so inept and clearly stupid that he doesn't have a higher profile. This is a senator from Wisconsin. He is just surely he's going to get beat. He's up for re-election.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Jeez, God, Democrats have to go all out and get that seat. And speaking of this cancel culture that the Republicans are using on their own.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, cancel culture. Man, they are the originals when it comes to cancel culture. So
yeah, half of Kitzinger's family.
Yeah, that's who I want to talk about. This I think he's so cute. And I know,
but formally we would have been appalled by him.
Yeah,
he's a Tea Partier,
he's against the Affordable Care Act. He's against abortion. He's against everything that I'm for.
But he happens to be a patriot, a real one.
Yeah. So this poor Adam Kinzinger, who's represented a district outside of Chicago for 12 years, received a 2-page handwritten letter from his family, members of his family, in which, in part, they said that he was in cahoots with the devil's army. And here's another sentence. "Oh my, What a disappointment you are to us and to God. You have embarrassed the Kinzinger family name. And they disowned him. 11 members of the family signed it. And what he has had to say about that is these are people who have suffered brainwashing. They've been brainwashed from conservative churches that have led them astray. And he says, I hold nothing against them, but I have zero desire or feel the need to reach out and repair that. That is 100% on them to reach out and repair. And quite honestly, I don't care if they do or not. I like this guy.
Yeah, I like this guy too. And and that's the point. We can decide that we don't like anything, that we disagree with absolutely everything, yet we can still see a man who has character and courage of his conviction.
Yeah. And his convictions might be different, but they don't come from an evil, hateful place. And he's absolutely nailed what's happened to the Republicans. And it's in large part what has made him so disgusted and so queasy. And he said this: Republicans just fear. They fear the Democrats. They fear the future. They fear everything. And it works for an election cycle or two. But the problem is it does real damage to our democracy. Now, I don't know why he didn't see all this before, but he didn't, and now he does. And, this is an honorable guy.
There's a few of them.
Very few.
But, I thought Nancy Pelosi said it very well the day, after, in the press conference after the impeachment vote, when she said, when we're looking for people to run for office, we don't look for people that have no options. If they say to us, yeah, but I've got this offer over here and I'd have to give up this over there, that makes us want them more because they have options. And she said, quite correctly, apparently these people have no other options.
Yeah, right. It's the only job they could possibly have. Oh, God. Well,
and I don't. Can I ask why we aren't locking up that Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I don't know what she. Thank God I haven't seen anything from her other than her threat.
After
she threatened the other, the Republican.
They go and arrest regular folks for putting out online threats against public officials. They do that all the time. She does not get a pass.
Yes, she does, apparently. She's something. And that is now the face of the Republican. The Republican Party is gone. And the Kinzingers who think they can somehow save it, I think are wrong. And then the more cynical McConnells who think they can somehow wrest control of it from these cultists and fascists and haters that have taken total control. They're wrong. It's gone. This is Trump's party, and all these other people need to start one of their own.
Yep. And the problem with that is then you have a minority party that is now two minority parties.
Yeah, well, oh God, I
I know. It's not our problem. If we can't
it
capitalize
is in some ways.
it is in the sense that it's so bad for the country.
Right.
But
I'm sorry. Amy has told me that extraordinary heroic soldier is Captain Paris Davis. A great name. And also we have a caller, I think, perhaps. Hello.
Good morning, Lynn and Susan.
Hello.
It's Ella from Penn Hills. I wanted to call and tell you General Ulysses S. Grant changed his name. He was originally Hiram, Hiram, Ulysses Grant, but he didn't want the initials Hug. It was Hug.
What?
So that's why he changed it. So his new middle name is Simpson, or was Simpson.
Huh.
And also, I wanted to ask you on telegrams, when you're sending a telegram, it would say yada yada stop, yada yada stop. Well, the stop meant they didn't have any punctuation. They didn't do punctuation.
Right. They must not have had they didn't have a period.
Oh. Okay, and also, I wanted to mention when I watched the trial, Magoo's, and he said something. I'm almost positive it was him. He said something about personal democracy, and I thought that was so riveting because when you're walking down the street or you interact anything, you're carrying that American feeling, that democracy, and just like you have a relationship with God, you have a relationship with your government, and you should uphold to the best you know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, thanks for bringing his name up. He was very
They
impressive.
were all, each and every one of them was just, they had me, each of them several times, either cheering or in tears.
Yeah.
And feeling
rock star.
So damn proud of my country.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
And I never had seen before this Jonah Goose, the son of Eritrean immigrants, the first African American to represent Colorado in Congress, and then this amazing Virgin Islands delegate.
Oh yeah,
Stacy Plaskett. Jeez.
Well, she's my new hero. You know?
Yeah. And you know what's funny is, you never know when people are just standing there, but after it was all over and they having a news conference or something, my God, she towered over all of them. She's got to be 6 feet tall.
Probably. She's magnificent in all ways.
Jeez. Wow. So anyway, those are two breakout stars that we were introduced to.
What I think is interesting is that so many of us have favorite moments where we can quote, out of an impeachment trial, that these people were so eloquent.
Yeah.
And so clearly were saying what was in the hearts of so many Americans and saying it for us in such a thank you, satisfying way. I was filled with awe, and it's like, when would you have people, calling up and saying my favorite moment, my favorite, they were really something.
Yeah, it was extraordinary, and that they could put forward such a clear indictment of this man and the cowards, the spineless, terrified cowards would acquit. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Hey, Ella, thank you. If you're still there, thank you.
Oh, I wanted you were looking for things to do, and there's a gentleman, Gershwin. It's Gershon Wachtel, Wachtel. He plays the piano every day at 2:00 from Jerusalem. It's a great concert. Well, that's not a big deal.
Where do I see him?
On
well,
YouTube?
he's on. You have to. He's online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look him up, and he probably is posting his concerts. A lot of people are doing that. You can.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free, wonderful stuff to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
okay. You're welcome. I'll. That's all. Good night.
Thank you, Ella. That was quite a cornucopia of stuff that you threw in here. Here's a quote from Plaskett. afterwards. Vice President Pence, Trump's own president, came after him and tried to assassinate him.
Oh, yeah,
and we still haven't heard a word from Pence. What does that tell you about their fortitude, their loyalty, not only to the Constitution and the American public, but to their own sense of honor? And if I may put this out there, their manhood. No, the Republicans with the biggest balls in the House are women.
That's right.
And also
Liz Cheney,
Liz
to
Cheney,
no one,
Liz Cheney, and I'm blind. Herrera, what's her name, from Washington State, who at the last minute came forward and said, "Hey, if you're a patriot, now's the time
to talk." Right.
Yeah, and now she's being threatened by.
Now she's being canceled by the Republicans who hate cancel culture.
Yeah.
You know, you would think that they would just every once in a while be embarrassed to be caught so clearly doing exactly what they always and only accuse others of doing. I mean,
but they don't acknowledge. It doesn't matter. Susan, it obviously doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
They just keep moving on.
Well, here's the thing: it matters to more and more and more of us. So, man, those midterms are just around the corner. We got to make sure that we got good people running against a lot of people.
God, I hope people are stepping up.
And Purdue just said he's running against Warnock.
Oh boy. Oh no, they'll and Warnock has to run again.
Warnock has to run again, and Purdue is running against him. But you know, I gotta say, I thought if Ossoff knocked off Purdue, I think Warnock would have an even easier time of.
Well, but the Republicans have time, and they're using it to change the voting laws. They're going to try to correct some of what allowed so much minority participation. And they're not alone. I mean, that's happening all over the country with these Republican legislatures. They are doing what the only way they know how to. They think they've been put in power to keep others out of power.
Yeah.
Well, just to keep others out, not to create legislation.
Cement their viewpoint as the only viewpoint. That's what they're doing.
It's just amazing. If you would ask them, like, why are you even? What is the purpose? What are Republicans offering anybody?
You mean other than lies? Because we now know we have proof positive that Americans only do well under Democrats and only do poorly under Republicans? Yeah,
that we see. I brought that up yesterday too.
You know,
I mean, we've known that somebody actually crunched the numbers. It's something. It's really something. So I got an obituary of the day.
Oh, I always like it. I always like it when it's time to talk about death. Lynn, who are we talking about today?
Reggie Jones, the longest-serving lifeguard at Jones Beach. Even though that's just a coincidence. That's on Long Island.
Yes, it is.
He was a lifeguard for 64 years. Saved over 1,000 people. Isn't that amazing?
It really is.
Well into his 70s. He astounded his fellow lifeguards by passing the notoriously demanding recertification tests. He was, every New Year's Day, he'd let a polar bear swim in the frigid waters there. I'm looking at a picture of him. What a hunk. I mean, and this is a hunk when he's almost 80. God, just amazing. And he enjoyed showing off his ability to bang out one-arm push-ups and one-arm pull-ups with his legs extended horizontally, just to make it harder. Never had a formal swimming lesson. Reggie Jones, ladies and gentlemen, just saying, a life well lived. Speaking of dead, Susan, I'm sorry, but you reminded me of something. Of this, the fact that Microsoft has put in a patent application for some, software, I guess, that would allow a person to have a loved one reincarnated kind of as how they would take existing stuff and you could actually talk to this recreation, the voice, the mannerisms, the physicality.
Well, how creepy is that? Right.
How creepy is that?
And to what end? I mean,
I don't know. Just because scientists have this one problem, and they never answer the questions just because you can. Should you?
But I don't even understand what comfort that would be, because it's not real. I mean, I guess there's a whole lot of people in this country that don't care whether things are real. They just believe them to be so. But, using my husband as an example, giving me
like a hologram
of Eric with Eric's voice talking to me as Eric would talk to me would do nothing except make me feel worse.
I would think so too.
The object is not to not deal with the loss.
Well, that's exactly. Grief counselors are reacting to this and saying this is really a bad idea. This is a bad idea. It would keep people from dealing with the reality of the loss.
People are I think these things are all done by people who haven't actually experienced loss, so they don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's like people that yell at me for not dating, for example, that don't understand.
Now, who would that be?
No, I can't imagine. Believe me, more than one. This is not limited to one person. And to me, and I was talking to another widow friend of mine, and we were commiserating about this, about how people don't understand that you don't want a man, you want your man.
Your man.
And that doesn't change. So this is the same thing. I don't want a picture of that man. I don't want a make-believe thing. I want to deal with the fact that he's not around and then live my life in spite of it. That's the healthy thing to do, but it doesn't look the way other people think it looks. I'm just saying that anybody that would be comforted that, maybe I shouldn't say that. There are people that like to stuff their dead animals. That wouldn't do a damn.
Well, I was going to say there are people who do that. There are people who clone. I was just talking to somebody who knows of a woman who cloned more than once. I think it was a dog or a cat. I mean, seriously, what kind of craziness is that?
Yeah, well, it's craziness.
Well, it bespeaks an inability, again, which we now are sadly become aware of how many people, if they don't like reality, really don't have much of a problem creating a new one.
Yeah, just an alternate one. And it's
and
I don't understand how that's possible, really, because again, part of the grief process is, at least the first time you go through a terrible, terrible loss, is bargaining. You find yourself bargaining with, whatever, with God, with whoever. If I just do this, or if I do that, can I wake up and change what happened? Subsequent losses, that doesn't work. But that is your brain just refusing to be able to get near the reality. But the healthy thing, the proper thing, the only way to actually move forward is to accept that reality.
Mm-hmm. True.
So I don't understand, I think people should just tell these people to go away. There are reasons to have, those holograms, like with the, what they're doing with Holocaust survivors. That makes sense.
Yes. Boy, that does. That is amazing. But I still remember my son reacting with astonishment and derision when he saw it, and like, he cares about Fred Astaire. He doesn't know Fred Astaire. But there was a commercial where they used Fred Astaire dancing, and instead of Ginger Rogers, they put in a vacuum cleaner. It was a commercial. Fred Astaire was dancing with a vacuum cleaner. And I remember Sam being stunned that anyone who guarded his image would have allowed.
Well, I feel the same way about it. I find it hard to believe that they did.
They did. Look it up. Fred Astaire and the vacuum cleaner. It's unbelievable. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right, Suze, I think we pretty much done did it.
Did we?
Yeah.
Good. A whole hour talking about absolutely nothing.
Don't you love it? And,
yeah, I do.
And now you go and you're going down into the basement and punch somebody, right?
I am. I'm going down to the basement and I am going to punch away.
Good. Well, okay. Say hi to Mom.
I will. I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Okay. But think of how good you feel after.
Afterwards, I'm good for a week. Okay.
There you go. All right. Hey, thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye. Okay, you guys. That was our respite. We'll jump back in tomorrow with both feet, okay? Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.